Imagine this: the lights of Las Vegas burning brighter than the desert sun, cameras flashing like lightning, and two names echoing louder than any others in boxing history: Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford. For decades, fans have argued, analysts have debated, and legends have weighed in on the same question. What if these two men ever touched gloves inside the same ring? On one side stands Floyd "Money" Mayweather, the man who turned boxing into a billion-dollar empire, undefeated in 50 professional fights, a defensive genius who made legends look ordinary. No one could crack the code. Not Pacquiao, not Canelo, not De La Hoya. For nearly 2 decades, Mayweather was untouchable, the puzzle no one solved, the man who walked away with perfection intact. But then there's Terence "Bud" Crawford, a fighter who doesn't just win, he destroys. Undefeated himself, a master technician, a switch hitter who can fight orthodox or southpaw with equal precision. Crawford isn't just skilled, he's ruthless. When he smells blood, he doesn't let opponents survive. He breaks them. Now ask yourself this: what if Crawford faced Mayweather in the ring? What if the man who built his career on perfect defense finally met the one fighter who could break through? What if Mayweather's undefeated empire crumbled in one unforgettable night? This isn't just fantasy. This is the ultimate what-if scenario in boxing. A matchup that could shake the sport to its core, redefine legacies, and answer the question fans have been asking for years. Is Mayweather truly untouchable? Or could Crawford destroy him under the bright lights of Las Vegas? Tonight, we dive deep into this dream clash, breaking down the fighters, the atmosphere, the strategies, and the shocking reality of what might happen if Terence Crawford does the unthinkable, destroying Floyd Mayweather in the ring. For years, boxing fans across the globe whispered the same question: what if Terence "Bud" Crawford had faced Floyd "Money" Mayweather in his prime? The debate wasn't just fantasy matchmaking. It was a collision of eras, a battle of legacies, and a stylistic clash that could have shaken the entire sport. Mayweather retired undefeated, 50 fights, 50 wins, the defensive genius who turned avoiding punishment into an art form. He was the puzzle no one could solve, the fighter who dismantled greats like Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Oscar De La Hoya with surgical precision. But Crawford was cut from a different cloth. Southpaw, orthodox, switch-hitting master, vicious counterpuncher, and ruthless finisher. A man who seemed tailor-made to push Mayweather's defenses to the limit. In boxing circles, Crawford was often described as the nightmare opponent for someone like Floyd. Why? Because unlike so many of Mayweather's opponents who became tentative once they felt his accuracy, Crawford thrived in chaos. He got stronger when fights got messy. Now imagine, under the neon lights of Las Vegas, inside a sold-out T-Mobile arena, the announcer's voice booming across the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fight the world has waited for. Floyd "Money" Mayweather versus Terence "Bud" Crawford. The air is electric, cameras flash, analysts lean forward in their seats, and the boxing world holds its breath. This isn't just a fight. It's a generational reckoning. For years, Floyd has carried the aura of invincibility. Nobody lands clean, nobody controls the pace but him. But tonight, the whispers are louder. What if Crawford destroys Mayweather in the ring? What if the myth of the untouchable finally collapses under the fists of a fighter who refuses to be intimidated? Stylistically, the matchup is pure theater. Mayweather's shoulder roll, that legendary Philly shell defense, was built to shut down linear, predictable fighters. He would bait them in, catch them on the gloves, and counter with pinpoint precision. But Crawford isn't predictable. He switches stances mid-round, changes rhythm like a jazz musician, and disguises power shots behind pawing jabs and feints. For every angle Mayweather has mastered, Crawford creates another. The analysts wonder, could Mayweather's defensive reflexes solve the puzzle of a man who doesn't fight by traditional rules? Could he handle a fighter who throws combinations from unexpected directions, who steps into range only to pivot out and attack from a new angle? The press conferences leading up to the fight are heated. Mayweather, always the master of psychological warfare, flashes stacks of money, calls Crawford just another stepping stone, and reminds the world of his 50-0 record. But Crawford isn't shaken. Calm, quiet, focused. He doesn't need theatrics. His silence carries menace. When asked what he'll do differently against Floyd, Crawford smirks and says, "I'll do whatever it takes. He hasn't seen me before." The room goes silent because the truth is, he's right. As fight night approaches, the stakes grow heavier. This isn't just about belts or money. It's about legacy. For Mayweather, it's protecting the perfect record, proving once again that he is the best ever. For Crawford, it's the chance to shatter that myth, to show the world that greatness doesn't live in the past, but in the present. Analysts on ESPN, Showtime, and Sky Sports argue endlessly. Some say Floyd's precision will pick Crawford apart. Others claim Bud's versatility and killer instinct will overwhelm the veteran. But the question remains at the center of every debate. What if Crawford destroys Mayweather in the ring? The atmosphere in Las Vegas is unlike anything seen before. Tourists flood the Strip wearing TBE, the best ever shirts on one side, and Team Bud caps on the other. Celebrities pour into the arena. LeBron James, Jay-Z, Mike Tyson, even Pacquiao watching from ringside. The lights dim, the crowd roars, and the ring announcer's voice cuts through the noise. Mayweather enters first, draped in black and gold, expression unreadable. A man who has walked this path 50 times before. Crawford follows, his eyes cold. No smile, no games, just business. His walk to the ring feels different, heavier, sharper, like he knows something the rest of the world doesn't. As they meet in the center of the ring for final instructions, the contrast is striking. Mayweather, calm, almost arrogant, chewing his gum as if he's about to spar a rookie. Crawford, tense, coiled, waiting to explode. The referee steps back. The bell is about to ring. Millions around the world lean closer to their screens because deep down, everyone knows. This fight is more than hypothetical. It's a test of time, a test of styles, a test of greatness itself. And in that moment, one question echoes louder than the cheers, louder than the commentary, louder than the pounding of hearts in the arena. The bell rings, and for a split second, the arena goes silent, as if time itself is holding its breath. Then the roar erupts. Mayweather, in his trademark stance, chin tucked, left hand low, right hand guarding his chin, begins circling with calm confidence. This is his world. The opening rounds where he downloads opponents like a computer, studying every twitch, every feint, every angle. For decades, these first minutes have been his laboratory. No rush, no panic, just calculation. But across from him, Crawford isn't giving the look of a man willing to be studied. From the opening seconds, Bud steps forward with a jab that doesn't look like much. Pawing, testing, measuring. Then suddenly he switches to southpaw, and the crowd gasps. Not even 30 seconds in, and he's already changing the rhythm. This is where things feel different. Mayweather's eyes narrow, reading, analyzing. He's seen switch hitters before, but none with Crawford's confidence, none with Crawford's timing. The first round is cagey. Mayweather flicks his jab, probes with quick lead rights. Crawford fires back with his own jab, snapping it into Floyd's guard, circling to cut off the ring. It's a game of inches, of chess moves, and the tension in the crowd is unbearable. Every time Crawford lunges forward, the audience rises, expecting violence. Every time Mayweather slips a punch, the Mayweather fans roar, as if to remind the world that perfection hasn't cracked yet. Then comes round two, and Crawford begins to press harder. He feints to the body, then snaps a right hook upstairs, catching Mayweather's glove but forcing him backward. It's subtle, but the crowd feels it. Bud is dictating space. Mayweather lands a clean straight right down the pipe, sharp as a knife, and smiles, as if to say, "You're not ready for this." But Crawford doesn't flinch. He smirks back, shakes his head, and fires a counter left that whistles past Mayweather's chin. Suddenly, the tension spikes. For the first time in years, Mayweather is staring at someone who doesn't look impressed. By round three, the pace quickens. Mayweather is still slick, rolling with shots, countering with pinpoint jabs to the body, but Crawford is building. His jab begins to split the guard, his footwork cutting off Mayweather's trademark lateral escape. The commentators' voices rise. Crawford is not falling into the trap. He's not chasing. He's controlling the center. The analysts at ringside shake their heads. This isn't the usual Mayweather chess game. He's not dictating at will. He's being forced into exchanges. Then it happens. Midway through round 3, Crawford sets a trap of his own. He flicks a lazy jab, steps slightly to his right, and the moment Mayweather dips into the shoulder roll, Crawford rips a right uppercut through the guard. It lands flush. The crowd explodes. Mayweather stumbles back a step, not hurt badly but shocked. For years, his defense has been a fortress. Nobody lands clean, but Crawford just cracked the shell. The replays play instantly on the big screen. Slow motion showing Bud's eyes locked in, his timing perfect. The crowd smells blood. Mayweather responds in round 4 like the master he is. He tightens the defense, goes back to his jab and move strategy, peppering Crawford with quick lead rights and body shots. He's trying to regain control, to reset the pace, but Crawford's pressure is suffocating. He isn't rushing recklessly like other fighters did. He's walking Floyd down, cutting angles, making the ring feel smaller and smaller. Every jab is sharper now, every feint heavier. The energy inside the arena shifts. The Mayweather fans, usually relaxed and smug in these opening rounds, are uneasy. Crawford is not playing the role of the intimidated challenger. He's the hunter. The commentators say it out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unfamiliar territory for Mayweather. He's being forced into the kind of fight he usually avoids. Round 5 begins, and the fight is no longer cautious. Crawford comes out in orthodox stance, surprising Mayweather, and lands a snapping right cross that catches Floyd off guard. The crowd roars. Mayweather fires back 3 quick punches, the last a sharp left hook that lands. But instead of backing off, Crawford steps into the pocket and answers with a vicious 4-punch combination, finishing with a body shot that makes Floyd clinch. The arena erupts into chaos. Fans are on their feet, screaming, chanting, sensing the momentum shift. By the end of round 5, the storyline is clear. Mayweather is in a real fight, maybe the toughest of his life. He's landed counters, he's made Crawford miss, but Bud has forced the pace, landed clean, and shown no fear. Analysts whisper the unthinkable. What if this really is the night Mayweather finally loses? What if Crawford is about to destroy the undefeated king? As the fighters go back to their corners, the cameras zoom in. Mayweather looks calm, but his eyes betray something we've never seen before. Calculation mixed with concern. Crawford, on the other hand, looks like a man who hasn't even reached his top gear yet. His coach leans in, whispering instructions, but the expression on Crawford's face says it all. He came here to break history. And as the bell rings for round 6, fans everywhere realize something chilling. This isn't a fantasy anymore. The destruction they whispered about, the collapse of the undefeated empire, it suddenly feels possible. The 6th round begins, and the crowd senses it. The tension has risen from electricity to thunder. Mayweather is still sharp, still elusive, still capable of slipping punches with his trademark shoulder roll. But Crawford isn't rushing anymore. He's stalking. Every step forward feels deliberate. Every feint a question that Floyd has to answer. And slowly, those answers are costing him. Crawford begins the round in southpaw, snapping a long right jab into Mayweather's body. It's not flashy, but it forces Floyd to adjust, to reset his position. Then, like a predator circling prey, Bud switches back to orthodox without warning. The rhythm changes instantly. Mayweather throws a lead right hand, his signature weapon. But this time Crawford anticipates it, slipping inside and ripping a short left hook across Floyd's temple. The crowd gasps. It's not a knockout shot, but it lands flush, enough to send a message. Crawford has solved the puzzle. The commentators are in disbelief. That's the first time I've ever seen Mayweather genuinely beaten to the punch in that exchange. One of them shouts. Replays show Crawford reading the shot, timing the movement, and delivering a counter with machine-like precision. For a fighter whose career was built on making opponents miss and pay, Mayweather is now tasting his own medicine. By round 7, the tide has shifted dramatically. Crawford begins cutting off the ring with terrifying efficiency. Mayweather, usually gliding effortlessly along the ropes, suddenly finds his exits blocked. Every time he pivots, Crawford is already there, waiting, forcing him into uncomfortable positions. The crowd begins to sense the unthinkable. Mayweather, the master of space, looks trapped. Crawford unleashes his first true assault midway through the round. A double jab upstairs, a feint to the body, and then a looping right hand that crashes onto Mayweather's guard. Floyd blocks it, but the impact rattles him. Bud doesn't stop. He fires a left uppercut, then a right hook, then another body shot that digs deep into Mayweather's ribs. The arena explodes as Mayweather clinches, something rarely seen so early in a fight. The commentators' voices rise with urgency. Mayweather is feeling those shots. He's holding on, ladies and gentlemen. Crawford is breaking through. The replay between rounds tells the story. Mayweather's breathing is heavier. His corner is animated, urging him to stay disciplined, to use his legs, to avoid trading. But Crawford's corner is calm, almost cold. His trainer whispers, "He's fading. Keep pressing. Break him down." Round 8 becomes the moment that defines the fight. Mayweather comes out with urgency, landing sharp counters early, trying to reassert control. A crisp straight right lands flush on Crawford's chin, snapping his head back. For a moment, the Mayweather fans erupt. Their hero has found the target. But Crawford doesn't back off. He steps forward, absorbs the shot, and fires back with a 5-punch combination that rocks the entire arena. A right hook, a left uppercut, a jab to the body, a right hand over the top, then a savage left cross that sends Mayweather stumbling into the ropes. The crowd is on its feet, the sound deafening. Mayweather holds, ties up, tries to weather the storm, but the damage is visible. His legs aren't moving as quickly, his reflexes a fraction slower. Crawford smells blood. He steps in, ripping hooks to the body, pounding the ribs, forcing Mayweather into survival mode. For the first time in his career, Floyd looks human, vulnerable, breakable. The commentary captures the shock. We are witnessing something unprecedented. Mayweather is being overwhelmed. Crawford has found the cracks in the armor. Round 9 becomes a war zone. Mayweather, to his credit, digs deep. He still lands sharp counters, catching Crawford with straight rights and left hooks that would have stopped lesser men. But Crawford refuses to be deterred. Every shot Mayweather lands, Bud answers with 2. His pressure is relentless, his combinations vicious. The camera zooms in on Mayweather's face, sweat pouring, mouth open, eyes narrowing with focus, but for the first time, doubt flickers. The turning point becomes undeniable when Crawford lands a body shot that makes Mayweather wince. It's subtle, just a quick left hook to the liver, but the reaction is unmistakable. Mayweather backs up, clinches again, and the crowd senses the unraveling. Crawford, smelling victory, unleashes another barrage. This time uppercuts through the guard, hooks around it, punches coming from angles Mayweather can't fully block. By the end of round 9, the narrative is no longer about Mayweather's perfect defense. It's about Crawford's relentless offense. Analysts at ringside shake their heads, some in disbelief, others with awe. This is the fight people said could never happen, one says, and it looks like Crawford is rewriting history in front of our eyes. As the fighters return to their corners, the camera catches Mayweather's trainer shouting, urging him to dig deep, to move, to survive. Meanwhile, Crawford sits on his stool like a man at ease, his breathing steady, his eyes cold. He doesn't just believe he's winning. He believes he's breaking Mayweather's will. And as round 10 looms, a chilling thought spreads through the arena, through living rooms across America, through every corner of the boxing world. What if Crawford doesn't just beat Mayweather on points? What if he destroys him? What if the undefeated king finally falls, not in controversy, not in debate, but in domination? And so, the bell has rung, the gloves are off, and history has been rewritten. Terence "Bud" Crawford didn't just fight Floyd Mayweather. He shattered the myth of invincibility that boxing had worshipped for decades. In this what-if universe, perfection crumbled, empires fell, and a new king stood tall over the ruins of an untouchable legacy. But here's the real question, fight fans. What if this wasn't just fantasy? What if one night, under the blinding lights of Las Vegas, this dream match actually happened? Would Crawford's fire overwhelm Mayweather's defense? Or would Floyd's brilliance still find a way to survive? That's the beauty of boxing. The debates never end, the legends never die, and the what-ifs keep us awake long into the night. If you enjoyed this breakdown of a fight that never was but always could have been, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and tell me, who do you think truly wins in this battle of eras? Crawford? Mayweather? Or is it the sport of boxing itself?